A lot of photographers probably don't have an off season. We're fortunate to live in Colorado and be wedding photographers, so like we're really busy in the summer and we slow down a lot in the winter. Oftentimes we have months off in a row.
Yeah. So
We call it the off season.
yeah, it's pretty much a seasonal job. I've tried to work some weddings down in Arizona in the wintertime, but it doesn't make sense because I never end up booking like 20 or anything. But yeah, so I'm just kind of stuck up here in the off season, and it's kind
Yeah.
of I enjoy the off season, but I also like to be busy. So it's a constant battle of trying to figure out what to keep myself busy with and what I want to be working on and stuff. But it's a nice little break too at the same
And
time.
it's really kind of, for me, you also have to really work at staying focused on something. Like when you don't have anything to do, it's easy to kind of like get into summer break mentality.
Yeah.
Which I always go into the off season with at first. I'll usually go into the off
Yeah.
season for the first couple weeks
too.
and just be like, all right, I'm just going to take it easy. I had a crazy summer shooting all these
Yeah.
weddings, and I have 2 weeks here where I'm just going to like chill. I'm just going to take it easy. I'm not going to do anything else. I'm not going to stress out about photography needs or anything. I'm just going to relax.
Yeah.
And then I'm going to have some sort of plan for something. And oftentimes in the off season, I'll want to work on like personal pet projects or like something artistic I want to do.
Yeah. Home improvement, stuff like that.
Home improvement, sometimes working on the building, making the studio nicer, working around the studio. Sometimes what I like to do for that part of the year is like usually the beginning is something like that. That'd be more productive. And then before I get to wedding season, like maybe a couple weeks at the end of the off season, I really like to refine all my processes, go through all the stuff that I would normally do on a wedding, make sure all my gear works, make sure that I don't need anything that needs to be updated, see what new stuff comes out.
Yeah. I definitely like to refine some processes too. So I like to, definitely go through my automation tasks and make sure
Right.
everything there is kind of working and working the best. And saying to myself, oh, like because you're so busy during the summertime that
Right.
like you don't have time to like think about like
Right.
automating a task. You just
Well,
need to
and
get
what I'll
stuff
do
done.
in the summertime is I
Yeah.
have like a list in my apps app, that I'll in my notes app that I'll just keep a running list of things that I could be doing better during the busy season. Because during the busy season is when you know of your problems and your errors and things that you could improve on. So like while it's happening, I'm like, oh man, in
Yeah.
off season, fix my battery setup or something. You know what I mean?
Yeah, it's kind of like the busy season is like the time where you don't have time to do a lot and you just got to get stuff done. But then the wintertime, just kind of refine everything and stuff like that. I mean, when I first go into the off season, I typically start to go to the gym more because like during the
Right. Yeah.
busy season,
Totally.
I have portrait shoots, weddings where I'm on my feet for 10 hours a day. And like,
Yeah.
yeah, if you go into the off season and you're not getting any exercise, it's like,
Especially if you have like
Yeah.
2 or 3 or 4 months off season, and then you get back into weddings, you're gonna hate it. You're gonna be so sore and out of shape. Like I feel
Yeah,
I do
yeah.
the exact same thing. Like I have a workout regimen I get into as soon as off season starts, and I try to keep it through wedding season, but it's hard. Wedding
Yeah.
season gets so busy; it's hard
Yeah,
to keep up on.
the other I do have a little bit of a struggle in the off season. It's not buying gear. So when I'm like really busy and
Yeah.
working and just thinking
You're just
about
shooting
making
pictures,
photos.
and you're not thinking
Yeah,
about equipment
yeah.
so much. You're just doing
Yeah,
it.
and then you get off of work pretty much, and you're off for 5 months for me usually. I'm just like thinking about like, oh, I should buy this, so I can do this or do that. But yeah, I think it's important just to have some other things to do as a freelancer too. Like
Yeah, it's nice to have like something else that you enjoy doing other than just work all the time and being able to fulfill it then. I
Yeah.
feel like that's part of what I love so much about being a wedding photographer is the seasonality of it.
Yeah.
It's like I bust it, like during wedding season I am running around and making pictures and like going to all these crazy spots
Yeah.
all over the place. And like I don't sleep much and I'm running around like crazy. But it gives me all this time in the off season to focus on something else that I really love and to be able to put my whole heart into some project that I wouldn't
Yeah,
probably
you
be
can
able to do
focus more
otherwise.
on your passions. Like last year, I did more traveling than I pretty much ever have. I went to Thailand for like a month and a half, and I wouldn't be able to do that in like a regular job. So
Yeah, it's
there are
hard to get
major.
6 weeks off from your job.
Yeah. Normal people can't really do that, but
And we also spend
yeah.
a lot of time working on our YouTube channel and making our
Yeah, so
studio
this-
better
this
and doing
year.
that kind of stuff. So we have like other things going that we're interested in so that because if you don't wake up and have like some sort of goals every day and you have a
Mhm.
lot of free time, it's easy to get in a rut, to waste a lot of time, to feel like maybe you're not good at doing something anymore. Like I feel like if I'm not doing photography pretty constantly, I start to lose some of my skills. I feel like it's something like at the beginning of wedding season, I'm always not as good as I am at the end of the season. By the end of the season, I feel like
you're really refined by the time you hit.
And then having a big off season though.
Yeah, every time I start working spring weddings again, I'm like, do I remember how to do this?
I gotta get back in the groove.
Yeah, it's kind of a weird job that a lot of people don't really have to deal with any of that stuff, but. Yeah, you got to kind of keep active and just like try to figure out photo projects and figure out whatever sort of photography you're going to be doing. Like last year, I did, stay pretty active doing photos. I did some weddings down in Arizona, shot pretty much every day in Thailand and stuff, and all that. So like last year was probably my heaviest off-season shooting year. But there's been other seasons where I just I'm like, oh, I don't feel inspired to do this today, or you might not make any photos. But as a wedding photographer, but also somebody who does photography as sort of like a hobby, and like I enjoy doing it. And one of my goals is to put together a photo book probably by the time I'm like 35 or so. So it's important to to keep all the goals in mind that you want to keep on doing and stuff. Do you have any sort of photography goals like outside of wedding photography?
Yeah. So I kind of try to have stuff like that too. It's and I also want to keep shooting. So I like that we have a lot of these kinds of shoots where we go out and we make photography pictures with people in the off season and stuff for our channel. And I also will go out with my family, or I'll take out personal friends or other people I've met on Instagram or something, and just go do shoots just to stay in it and not feel like I'm not progressing or I'm losing some of my skills or something. Oftentimes I'll just go out and make a shoot with somebody just to get out, and I don't charge them anything. I gotta go make pictures. I miss it so much. It's strange to have in the summer you have so much of what you love, and then in the winter you get kind of starved of it a little, and it makes you really hungry for it again.
Yeah, for sure. I mean, one thing about the off season is you in Colorado, at least, you have a couple of winter engagements here and there. People are booking, and they might want to.
Those ones are fun too, especially if you can get a little snow in the city. I always love that.
Yeah, I will say that they're quite a bit harder. So in the summertime,
the summertime, it's a lot easier.
Everything feels so easy. Yeah. And then in the wintertime, it's 10 degrees, and you're going out there, and you're not exactly 100% motivated to do the shoot.
You want to do the shoot, but at the same time you want to be inside where it's warm. It's
there's been so many times in Rocky Mountain National Park. That's where for some reason every wintertime I have so many people who want to go
up there. It's in the frigid, and you have to you get up there and you find out if maybe the pass is open or not. They're like, oh, there's too much snow, you can't even come in today. And you're like, but we drove 2 hours. Go home. No, this is horrible. There's a lot of pitfalls.
Yeah, it's a lot of going back into the car and blasting the heater until you can make it to the next spot.
Or trying to convince your clients to spike their hot chocolate. God, you guys should have a drink. It's freezing out here.
Yeah.
It's so in the off season, we'll get some of those, and I like those because it keeps me in it and it keeps me motivated. And it's funny because I'll spend more time in the post production process on those pictures just because I won't want to do it so much, and I just miss it so much. Yeah. After a month or two of it being gone, I just miss it so much.
For sure.
But in September, I don't. In September, you just get burned. If you're doing 6, 8, 10 weddings in a month, you're just I gotta stop this.
Yeah. Usually the end of my season is always the busiest for some reason, and I feel like you always book more summer weddings than I do, and then I book more fall weddings. So a lot of summer weddings. Yeah. There was one October where I worked 6 weddings in 10 days, which was crazy. And so,
you're not bored at all.
Or this year I think I had 8 or 9 weddings in September, which was crazy. So it's
I remember one September I had 11 weddings, and by the end of that that September I was like, man, I don't know that I could ever do that again. 11 weddings in a month is just too many.
Yeah. It's really it's confusing to know whether to take time off photography or not. At the end of this season, I suppose I've kind of felt I need a little bit of a break, but you want to still be in it and stuff.
That's why I always give myself a 2-week period. I'm like, all right, this is gonna be 2 months or 3 months of time I have off. I'm gonna give myself 2 weeks just to kind of lay around and watch YouTube and not de-stress and not worry about if my camera's making pictures or if I'm out in the world and stuff, and just take it easy. And then after that, I'm going to start putting together plans for the things I want to try to accomplish.
Yeah, you're a big workflow guy. So what type of workflow stuff do you try to work on in the wintertime? I know it's a big
Well, so like I was saying earlier, I'll like during the season, I'll identify things that are taking me a long time. Like, so if it's taking a long time to import cards, maybe I'll make a note of that, and then in the off season, I'll be like, all right, how can I make my card import process faster? Or like I spend a lot of time forgetting to charge batteries. How can I make it easier to charge batteries? And like I just kind of go through my process and stuff that's slowing me down in the off season, or in the regular season. I try to address in the off season so that next season when I'm, so busy and it's so hectic, it's not like as daunting and things are happening more quickly and my processes are more refined, so I'm not wasting as much time. And it just makes the busy part of the year easier.
Yeah, for sure. Yeah, for me, I definitely spend some time refining stuff and organizing more. So like usually on like January 1st, I'll look at my website and be like, oh, do I need to update this? How's my booking? Stuff like that. And then where else do I do this? So I guess, I definitely catch up on social media. Like I've started batch processing. I found that I do like to work in big batches for some stuff, so I don't have to constantly think about like, oh, do I have to post this on Instagram
it's
today?
It's definitely more effective.
Yeah. So kind of batch some stuff there, but yeah, I don't know. It's kind of just like the time to batch some stuff and try to figure out.
Usually what I'll also do is like after I've gotten some of my processes refined is I will go through everything from the season that I just shot and I will archive it. I will spend a lot of time getting it onto other discs and have it backed up somewhere so I can free up the space so that next season I got a whole new computer and start fresh, fill it back up because it doesn't take long to fill up the computer these days.
Yeah, for sure. I tend to look at like, I just become so much more of a consumer in the wintertime, I think, just because I'm not quite as busy. And then
try to get some photography books and some documentaries and some stuff I can watch about it.
Yeah, I've been trying to replace a lot of that stuff with, productive stuff like, like you're saying, like photo books or reading more. I just got Richard Avedon's, it's called Something Personal by Richard Avedon. I think it was written by somebody else, but it's kind of like an interview book. So
I'd borrow that one from you for sure.
Yeah, I got it for $5 on eBay, so I'm gonna
rock and roll.
yeah, you can find.
I really like those kinds of books as inspiration in the off season too, or by photographers I really like Richard Avedon, because you can like understand their process through your own process in a way. You know what I mean? Like you're like, I do this, and he's in the same frame of mind as me, even though he was big and famous and he shot for I don't know what did he shoot for. Esquire or Vogue? I think it was Vogue.
Yeah,
one of those big.
It was a couple of those big magazines. I know we moved into like a couple of different ones.
But at the end of the day, it's still the same. Like we're all taking pictures. It's all about our process and stuff. So it's really interesting to see what his process was versus what your process.
But then I might have a bad day and the Cybertruck comes out and then I spend like 5 hours like looking at videos on the Cybertruck. Like what the heck?
Yeah, what are you doing?
I feel like that's a very unproductive off season.
That's the thing is like you can have a lot of off season days where one of two things for me happens. So one of two pitfalls. I'm sick of working out, so all I want to do is sit around and watch YouTube, and that becomes like a couple days of me being lazy, and I feel really bad about it. And that usually leads into me wanting to buy equipment I don't need. And those two are like the biggest pitfalls in your photography life. Like, so if you could avoid those kinds of things, you'd probably be a lot happier.
I know for sure. Yeah. What do you think of the Cybertruck?
I don't know what a Cybertruck is, man.
The new Tesla Cybertruck thing? That looks all crazy,
that thing.
I was interested because I saw that.
It kind of looks like a prop car from like Terminator 1. You know what I mean? Like, it looks really militant. Like, if you saw that thing driving down the road, especially in like the matte black,
I can't even imagine. Yeah.
You might think like that guy's you're going on a rampage. Like, it looks pretty seriously scary.
It's so wild. I can't even imagine like in 3 years when these actually hit the road, or 2 years or whatever it is, that you're gonna actually see that just driving down I-70 like that.
Yeah, it's just gonna be on the streets.
Yeah. I
imagine parallel parking one of those things, like in the city, like downtown,
like a self-parallel park type of thing.
Oh man.
Yeah, but I saw that. I was like, I bet Matt hates this. Like, do you hate it?
I don't hate it. I just think it's interesting. I don't know. It's different. And you know what was really so clever about it? Just to get on a tangent about the Cybertruck, everybody's talking about that silly truck. Even you and me on our podcast, everybody's talking about it because it's so like way different. Like,
I feel like it's smart. Like every
that was a great marketing move.
Yeah, every single truck has looked the same for the last like 50 years. So he's just like boom,
boom in your face. Here's this crazy thing we made.
Yeah, the Tesla, like the other Tesla models are kind of like mainstream, and like these are like everybody can like these. We're just gonna make them electric, and like
Yeah.
then it's like boom, I'm gonna hit you with this like really like conflicting type of design. It was
So that's something that you can easily fall into on their off season, and you can just end up looking at a truck for a bunch of weeks in a row.
Yeah.
When you could be like maybe addressing other problems in your business, or like trying to find something else that fulfills you more.
Yeah, shooting more pictures.
Yeah. So it's good to like for me in the off season, I kind of like to have like a schedule that I repeat every day. So like every day between like whatever time and whatever time I like to work out, and then after that I like to like try to eat and make food for the week or whatever. And I try to have goals so that like my life kind of runs.
Yeah, you can pretty much schedule your life however you want to in the off season as a wedding photographer.
Right.
So yeah, like I'll you know, like right
it's good
now
to have some structure.
Yeah,
you know?
yeah. Right now I'm working on an album. I'm trying to get my social media caught up on. So you know, I do all my posts for the year like once now, and so I'm still trying to work on that. But yeah, like after I get all this stuff done, I'm thinking about doing like sort of like a batch schedule in a way. So like I should have about 2 weeks where I don't really have anything on my calendar, which is awesome. I think that's like kind of like a goal in life, just to have like no emails and no calendar. I think that's that's one of my goals.
Of just like serenity.
Yeah, I had a
or
day,
you can watch Tesla trucks all day.
I had a day, maybe a month ago, I've been working on my on clearing up my like junk emails and stuff, and I'm unsubscribing from all these like emails. Man. My inbox got so crazy over 5 years, and I had one day. I've only had one day in my like life that I can remember where I got 0 emails, and I was like so stoked. But yeah, like after I get this other like sort of batch.
So that's kind of like refining your processes, though. It's like because then you won't get the more spam later. And like it just makes your life simplified.
Yeah, you know, I'll get my client email first, and then I don't have to look through like 5 different clothing ad emails.
I try to like weigh through that kind of stuff because I'm like, I need to do these things. I also want to do these things, but neither of them really fulfill me. So what things also fulfill me? And then I try to schedule my life in a way that I'm doing some of those things every day. Because if I don't, it's easy just to like wake up and be in your PJs all day and just be like, oh man, I was just watching YouTube all day. I didn't get anything done.
Yeah, being able to work in your sweatpants is like a major plus of being a wedding photographer a lot of days, except for 30 days a year where I'm outside doing photography things, you know, for clients. But
it's just kind of funny that our gripe.
But you do have to be like strict. You have to be kind of like strict with your schedule.
Yeah, you do.
Yeah, so like as soon as
our gripe is that we don't want to take a day off. Like don't be taking it easy. But we really have a lot of time that we can like put back into our own selves.
But after I finish up batching my social media and stuff, I'm gonna be probably sticking to a schedule for a little bit. So I'm probably gonna go out and shoot. I'm gonna pick one location to go shoot for 1 to 2 weeks. Work on my personal photography project. My goal is to, by the time I'm like 35, is to release my first like personal photography project. So I want to keep on working on that, and then probably work out in the morning, hop on a light rail, go somewhere, shoot some photos, and then maybe like read half a book a day or something.
Yeah, so I mean, if you keep kind of that kind of pace going every day, it kind of keeps you from getting too stale and getting too cabin fever and not feeling like you're a photographer still. Because I know there's times where I'll have like 2 or 3 weeks where I won't be out doing photography, and I'll just feel like something's majorly missing in my life.
Yeah. One thing that nobody likes to talk about with wedding photography is that it's extremely isolating. So, you're going out and you're photographing like the happiest days of people's lives, but they're not your happiest day of your life. And like, right?
Yeah, I mean,
it's great. Like, I definitely get fulfilled like going to a wedding and like looking at all this, but and it's easy to kind of get wrapped up in like, oh, like this is great. I get to be here capturing this moment and stuff. But at the same time, it's not really your moment. So like when you're going out and shooting, you're not doing too much for yourself. But when you come back home, it's just you and your photos. So it's like, go out and be like extremely extroverted for a day, and then you're back to editing on your own, most likely.
Yeah, hiding out in your little studio with the lights out, looking at the computer.
It works. It works pretty good for me. I'm kind of an introverted extrovert, so I can.
I think a lot of photographers are like that. I'm like that. I can easily turn it on and off.
Yeah, for sure. Like I definitely like love to go out and shoot a wedding, and there's 100 people there. I'll probably talk to 150 people there. I feel really great, energized and stuff. But then for me, I like to go back home and then just work on some photos too. So I definitely love the quiet
Yeah,
time.
so when you don't have that like regular routine and you're not making photos because you're off season, you're just not booking gigs.
Yeah,
it's good to kind of keep creating it in a way so that you don't get stale and that you don't lose focus and you don't like realize, because it's easy to fall out of photography a bit, and then you have to struggle to get your skills back and to get it all honed up how you had it.
Yeah, for sure. Yeah, like when you're back at home, kind of like on your own or whatever. Like maybe your spouse works a job, and then you have 9 hours a day where you're just like sitting at home in the off season. You got to kind of figure out how to schedule this stuff because you don't want to fall into some sort of hole there or anything. So
yeah, and you want to like still be like progressing your business and keeping your photography stuff, but you also want to take care of yourself and like eat right and exercise and stuff so that when the season comes back on, you're not feeling crappy and like run down before it even starts. Because wedding season is a bear. I feel like wedding season is one of those things that like you don't really realize till you start doing it, but it's like athletic.
Oh, dude, it is for sure.
You burned some calories running around doing the wedding.
Yeah. Sure. I'm on my feet for 8 to 10 hours a day, and like, if you're not in shape and you're not eating right, like, I don't know, like how you can make it through that. It used to be worse when I had about 30 pounds a year. I'm down to about 10 pounds a year.
Yeah, getting down to smaller kits makes it a lot easier. It used to be worse.
Yeah. But still, and in Colorado, the elevation's high for a lot of weddings, so you're going out there and
way higher than where we live, like twice as high. Yeah, and I know that like in the season, if I do like a lot of mountain weddings, my ears will get all out of whack because they're popping all the time. It's like going on a bunch of airplane rides.
Yeah, for sure.
So like it's just a strange gig, but I feel like keeping in shape and also keeps me like feeling good and friendly and happy. Like it does something in your brain that keeps.
And this can go for any sort of freelance gig too. Like you really got to kind of work at it to. I don't know, just stay in the rhythm of things.
Yeah, get yourself a schedule that you kind of like and just keep tweaking it until it
I feel like
like
a lot of people idolize like freelancers, right? So it's like a cool thing. Like when I remember when I was in like graphic design school, like everybody's
they're free to do whatever they want.
Yeah,
but you still aren't. You still have to kind of follow some rules that you set. Which is nice
so
part.
It's so everybody in college was always like, hey, like I want to be a freelancer. It sounds so cool. It was like the cool thing to say, right?
Yeah.
And like the thing is like it's not better or worse than like maybe going to like a 9-to-5 job. It's gonna be better for certain people than other people.
Yeah.
But going to like a corporate job every day, there's people there every day. You're gonna be talking to like 30 people throughout the day or whatever, and like
you'll have more relationships.
And you have a schedule. So like being a freelancer, you got to be more regimented. You have to make sure that I don't know. It's just like there's like a different set of
you got to be
problems.
self-starting. You have to be like the kind of person that wakes up in the morning and is like, I'm going to do all these things to propel me. Otherwise, you could just fail.
And I think like it's important to make sure that what you're going into, you have a passion for. So like if you
that makes the work worth it.
Yeah. So being a photographer rather than I don't know, whatever other
thing. Like an accountant or something. Yeah. It's no offense, accountants.
Yeah, like a freelance accountant that works from home. That sounds pretty miserable. But by being a photographer, like I get to do. I constantly think about it, so it makes it easy. And I feel like my life is maybe more fulfilling because I get to like think about what I like all the time. So that's kind of cool. But yeah, do you so anyways, getting back to off season. How has the off season been with a kid? Has it been a little bit different?
That's definitely been different. Yeah, I used to have a lot more time to focus on my photography stuff, but now with kids, with a child, it's fantastic because I get to spend a lot more time with her, which is super fulfilling. And like I have a little subject that has to let me take her picture. She can't say no to me. I'm her dad. So like that part's really, really fun. But like I definitely don't get as much done as I used to. And like I find that my schedule and my regiment has to be even more precise than ever, or I just don't get as much done.
Yeah, that's a good point. Yeah, like once you get like a big responsibility like that, it probably just got to be even more regimented in the off season to make sure that everything is staying on track. And
you just really got to stay focused on it, which is great because that's something I'm really good at.
Yeah. This is my first off season offering albums, and so I'm getting like an extra little rush here.
Some extra work to do. The albums can keep you busy. Like I definitely go back and forth with some brides for quite a while. Sometimes like almost to the end of the off season. I'll be going back and forth.
Yeah. I feel like the off season is sort of like a time for relaxing and not having too much to do. But then there's all these little things that you got to do and keep up
That
on, like
kind
client
of eat up
meetings
some
and
time.
yeah, for sure. How long does it take you to do an album?
Depends on how many requests I have going back and forth. I mean,
Yeah.
like normally I do an album in maybe 10 back and forth, 10 drafts, 8
Oh
drafts.
wow. Yeah. I'm just getting into it.
But
So.
like generally, I have some pretty easy software that does most of the work, and all I have to do is like go through and kind of check off 10 things, and then send it back to them, and back and forth and back and forth. I want to make sure that the clients get the books that they really want, so I'm willing to go back and forth on them and keep adding and making changes till it's perfect.
Yeah,
And
for sure.
in the off season, you have more time to do that sort of thing. Like if I had to do a lot of albums and they were due while wedding season was going, I don't know if I would be as keen on reiterating as much. Yeah.
Yeah, are there any other things that you try to keep up on in the off season? I know like client meetings for me are always kind of a
there's always client meetings to do, and there's like the offloading of all the photos and stuff from that season. And then the other thing that I spend a lot of time doing that you always spend time doing no matter how much you try to avoid it is marketing. Like you always gotta, even when the off season when you're not out doing photography, you always gotta be trying to get your ads seen or get your website seen or make some sort of way to get clients to come to you to buy more services so that you can ensure that you're growing and that you're making up money. So I feel like I always spend a couple hours every day devoted to some sort of marketing task.
Yeah, same here. I spend a lot more time on Instagram and like batching all that stuff and making sure everything's running good. I'm gonna blog a little bit more, stuff like that.
And I'll also that's when I'll take like all my favorite pictures and stuff, and I'll kind of shop them around. Like we use a service called Too Bright Lights for our wedding business that allows us to submit some of our photos and stuff to publications to get them like on blogs and to get them in magazines and stuff. Because we like to get our pictures on blogs and in magazines because then we have more organic, natural kind of customers coming to us who saw us on the Nod or they saw us on some blog or something.
Yeah, for sure.
So we try to get on a lot of those, and that helps the website too. So I definitely say we spend a lot of time working on that in the off season. It's a lot of stuff trying to get you seen.
Yeah. When that off season hits, it's like I gotta get all my photos like posted everywhere. I gotta get these because like on January 1st, I make a new Lightroom catalog, and then
starting to clear it off.
And then I buy a couple of hard drives to get that off my computer. So I want to just make sure that that I can do that by January 1st. So I guess like it's a little bit of a rush the first couple of months to get all that stuff done. But yeah, it's kind of an interesting time just because you have a lot of little things to do and a lot of time. But
in the end, I think it's probably the best to have some sort of schedule and try to have maybe a couple big projects you're trying to do and maybe a couple of regular tasks that you do and something photography related to keep you out.
Do you have long-term goals or?
Yeah, I always have long-term goals, but like the long-term goals, I feel like I don't assess those as often. You know what I mean?
I look at my long-term goals more in the off season because I'm like I have time to like think about like where I want to be 5 years from now and stuff like that. Or if I feel really inspired to like start some other type of business or stuff like that, it gives me plenty of time.
Yeah, it's nice to have some time to focus on other things and put some time. But at the same time, I want to still be doing photography and staying in my little creative world so that I don't fall out of it too much,